So in your podcast app, if you search for Jupiter Station, you'll see I post the weekly launch over there. That's my Coder pre-show. Just an opportunity to take that, make it available for people after the fact in a podcast native way. So it gives you a chance to boost in and support the network, what we're doing here during the ad winter. It's always really nice, too. A little extra value towards you, a little extra content, a little extra value towards us. And we take something we're doing here and we kind of make it more official. So I'm calling it the weekly launch. We're going to play some value for value music, play the clips that are shaping up your week. We're doing it all before the Coder Radio live stream, which is coming up in just a couple of minutes. We were just talking before I took a little break about Neuralink, how it's it's been installed, and the news is kind of digesting it this morning. Everybody's trying to kind of figure out what it means. Each, of course, has their own take. We just played the BBC's. I thought that was probably the least passionate take. The other ones are pretty extreme. You know, it's a jarring story for some of them to process. So I'd like to know what you would think. Would you use Neuralink? Would you put it in your brain? Think about it when it's been around for a while. It's been normalized. It's not that weird anymore. Maybe your coworkers have it. Would you maybe do it? Here's Fox Business's coverage on it, and then we're going to move on.
Neuralink. That's Elon Musk's other company. I don't know if it's number 6. I can't keep track. We're showing you Tesla shares because this is the public company. But Neuralink has implanted the first brain chip into a human being. It allows someone who is paralyzed to move, to email, or to play video games with their thoughts. So at this point, because this process will take 6 years, but we're at the stage where the robot successfully implanted the chip in the part of the brain that controls movement, and we're told the patient is recovering well. Elon Musk is calling this product telepathy. It's very promising, it's hopeful, but I have to say it's also scary.
I like that she knows it's going to take 6 years, and then you'll be able to play video games and do email. Is that 6 years in Elon time? In Valve time? Where's that 6 years figure coming from? I mean, right now we're talking like we're reading neural impulses. We're getting neural impulses right now. That's where we're at, right? Okay, let's not get carried away. Let's not get carried away. They're recovering still. Okay? They just got their head cut open. They're not playing video games yet. Now, this week, besides putting things on your face and in your brain, it's also a big week for what they're calling the Magnificent Seven, at least most of them. Alphabet and Microsoft and others have their earnings report today at the close of the market. And, well, because they influence so much of the market at this point, it's a point of fascination by everyone.
Google and Microsoft are the first big tech companies expected to report earnings after the bell this evening. Joining us now with what to expect is Barton Crockett, Rosenblatt Securities senior analyst. Barton, good morning.
Good morning.
Why don't we start with Microsoft, since everybody seems to sort of pretty much love the story. Seems like you give it a $3 trillion market cap and 33 times PE multiple because you think Microsoft's just going to figure it out. They're in the way of all the big trends that are positive, and they're going to be able to monetize it. What in particular, though, would you be looking for out of this quarter to figure out if they're on track?
I would pause right there. If you just heard that litany of things, Microsoft, their position, they're out front, they got the best, blah, blah. What that translates to is massive market expectations, which means if Microsoft just does okay, that's probably bad for Microsoft because it's a lot of hopes and expectations pinned on Microsoft. That's what you're hearing.
Figured out. They're in the way of all the big trends that are positive, and they're going to be able to monetize it. What in particular, though, would you be looking for out of this quarter to figure out if they're on track?
Okay. And to be clear, I don't cover Microsoft. We have another analyst who does the software names. But, I think Microsoft is obviously the table setter for cloud computing. And I think the defining kind of player in artificial intelligence. And I think what we're all really kind of curious about is what is the opportunity for anyone to kind of pick up share in cloud-based kind of artificial.
I think it's interesting that he just said Microsoft's the leader in cloud computing and not Amazon. I guess once you're considering AI plays, not sure. But we're gonna be watching because whatever Microsoft does is going to drag the entire market with it. And ahead of time, just a few days ago, 5 days ago, Microsoft announced another round of layoffs, I think ahead of these financial results.
Microsoft cutting almost 2,000 jobs at Activision Blizzard and Xbox as the tech landscape resets. What is the story now for startups? That's the focus of today's Tech Check with our Deirdre Bosa. Morning, Dee.
Hey, good morning, Carl. It has just been a brutal year so far for tech workers, and behind the scenes at these private startups, it is even worse. Former Silicon Valley darlings like Brex recently cut a fifth of its workforce, Discord 17% of its. I sat down this morning with VC and founder Jack Abraham of Atomic, who thinks that 2024 will be the year of the mass extinction event for startups as cash dries up. Have a listen.
Wow, that's all right. That's just a lot of fear-mongering. We'll see. I'll put a link to that in the chat room. Let's take a break, a little music, and then I got a great clip I want to play when we get back. And then it's probably going to be coder time. Here's Cold Water.
Got me sipping cup to cup, what my mind need. Look at you and then I'm stuck in a daydream. Capture it and let it roll like a movie. Sun is setting on me, drinking on the palm trees. Cold water, let it flow through my bloodstream. Had your glance, I turn to stone and I can't breathe. Capture it and let it roll like a movie. Sun is setting on me, drinking on the palm trees.
Sun is setting on me, salty water in my hair, turning into gold streaks, chilly coastal cold air. So give me nothing less, I promise you my best. I'm plotting on the set, Josh and Oscar running back.
You say you're looking for something new, right up to Malibu, switch it to channel 2. And you say you're looking for something new, right up to Malibu, switch it to channel 2. Got me sipping cup to cup, what my mind need. Look at you and then I'm stuck in a daydream. Capture it and let it roll like a movie. Sun is setting on me, drinking on the palm trees. Cold water, let it flow through my bloodstream. Had your glance, I turn to stone and I can't breathe. Capture it and let it roll like a movie. Sun is setting on me, drinking on the palm trees. What you wanted from me, it is not what it seems. Now we both take the long way. Cold water gon' freeze and it's up to my knees. Besides, I feel so lonely. And you say you're looking for something new, right up to Malibu, switch it to channel 2. And you say you're looking for something new, right up to Malibu, switch it to channel 2. Got me sipping cup to cup, what my mind need. Look at you and then I'm stuck in a daydream. Capture it and let it roll like a movie. Sun is setting on me, drinking on the palm trees.
What strikes me about this next clip is it shows you that perhaps the AI money is getting a little more selective. It's no longer good enough to just make your product better, make your existing customers happy, double down on your investments, and super serve your existing customers. Your AI features have to be breakthrough or the market will punish you. And that's what PayPal just found out. They announced new AI features that just improve the existing user experience, and Wall Street, well, they're pissed.
Mr. Shareholder, learning about this in real time.
Yeah, it's just the stupidest thing I've ever seen. It looks like market manipulation, but nobody wins. So why would you come out and say we're going to rock your world or whatever he said, and then the big innovation is we're not investing in this, we're still cost cutting, but look, we're going to do a faster checkout? That's like table stakes. You have to have a faster check. We all understand that. There's nothing here. They should. I don't know. I'm not impressed by so far. It's a new CEO. Give them the benefit of the doubt. They report on February 7th. Maybe they will rock our world then. But like this is not what's popping in the streets. Like we don't roll like this. We don't say big things and then back them up with basically minor incremental improvements to existing products. That's a really weird flex, and that's why you're seeing the stock get traded this way.
And that, my friends, is what tech companies are up against. You see that? You see how pissed he is that they just made things better? That they didn't launch some crazy-ass brand new initiative that stretches their company and is a moonshot? You see what happened there? I think that is absolutely what. That's not how they roll. That's not going to go down on the street. This is what tech companies, once they go public, are up against. And then before that, there's so many shenanigans when they've been VC'd to get to that IPO that that's its own disaster. And then once they get to the victory line, this is what happens. I find that clip to be chef's kiss choice. I'm going to also post that one in our Matrix chat room, our coder.show Matrix chat room that's going along with us. Shout out to everybody in there. Got a good pop in chat room this morning, and the title bot has been started, so you can bang suggest as we go along. If you're listening on a commercial stream and you want to get in there, it's just coder.show/matrix. You can use the Element web client even. It won't hurt. It won't hurt you. Now, obviously, all these companies are dependent on the Fed lowering rates. That's the only way these tech companies are going to survive. And this AI hype train's only going to last so long. It's the only source of money right now. We need these rates to come down so that way the loans get cheaper for the people close to the money faucet and they can invest in businesses because God knows they can't save in dollars. Well, CNBC did a little survey, and I think they're going to be disappointed. We're not going to see rate cuts anytime soon, according to their math. Who knows if they're right, but people that are expecting a rate cut in March are going to be very disappointed.
Morning, Carl. In contrast to the market's aggressive outlook for rates, the CNBC Fed Survey sees things happening later and sees them happening not going quite as far as the market expects. That outlook was bolstered in just the past few minutes by the
CNBC just did a survey of different bankers and whatnot and respondents, and their sources all together tell them that a 70% probability of rate cuts not until June. Not until June.
Ooh, roll.
I don't know if that's going to work, man. I think something's going to break.
I think we need the money printer.
Yeah.
We are them.
I think, if they say June, that probably means April?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Cut those rates,
but
Holmes.
it's starting to hurt. Like if you don't make a pivot to AI, you're basically screwed in the money department.
I know. Would you like some AI in your AI?
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard from a couple of listeners. They're like, you're right. My company is retooling and claiming to be focusing on AI products now. And it's just a random ass thing we're trying. Yeah, I know. He's like, don't read this on air.
We're a young girl from Kansas City, came to New York with dreams of making it on Broadway, but you got to pay that rent. So
that's true.
Looks like we're AI now.
That's what, you know what? JB is an AI podcasting play.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, we got a show to do. Chat room, please bang suggest as we go along. Because the whole thing now depends on you.
I don't believe you.
No, it's true. It is true. Because the show's already set, but we don't. I did have a. I'll start it. Well, I guess somebody's already started it, but I'll throw mine in there. Because once again, Apple wins, and it is good to be the king. So I am throwing that one into the pot early. There you go. Okay, handsome. Let me see. I've never done this before. What is this? This is Coder 0555. How about that for a cool
5 by 5, baby?
That's cool. 555. Okay. All right. I'm recording. Hello, Drew. Hello, Drew. Hello. All right, Mr. Dominic. Please jump in at 4. 1, 2, 3. 4. I gotta say, you sound good. You sound real good, so that's good. Okay, now it's all up to the chat room. In a 3, in a 2. This is Coder Radio, episode 555 for January 30th, 2024. Well, hey, friends, and welcome into Jupiter Broadcasting's weekly talk show, taking a pragmatic look at the art and the business of software development and the whole world of technology. My name is Chris, and joining us, like the podcast and pro that he is, it's our host, Mr. Dominic. Hi, Mike.
What's up? I'm here to collect your 30% JISRA for Apple. Tax. They're both bad.
It is, right. Yeah, that podcast tax they've implemented now.
It's actually, unfortunately, the private equity firm that owns my house has sold it to Apple, and every time I poop, I have to cut 30% of the discharge and send it to them.
That's also, I think, going to be part of the strategy when you enter the Neuralink app store. And of course, you can't screenshot things you're looking at anymore. So but it is a historical day. Elon Musk on Weapon X announced that the initial implantation into a human host has been completed and that they are recovering well. And he says, imagine if Stephen Hawking could communicate faster than a speed typist or an auctioneer. That is the goal.
Mm-hmm. So we've not seen any sci-fi recently or read any William Gibson books or anything like that. Just going to go ahead and...
Listen, Mike, How are you going to all build up a God complex and try to save us all from an impending doom if you don't first create that doom? Don't you know the Musk formula?
You know, but I mean, Cylons, Cybermen, the Borg. There's so many good examples here of how this can.
Let me pitch it. Let me steelman this. Chores suck, right? Chores suck. Chores suck, right? So, got you there. I got you there.
I mean, I guess the disabled could use this, but
yeah, I mean, we joke, but that's the real first breakthrough, right?
Although you can imagine the fun military applications of this.
Oh, yeah. I could also imagine some really fun military applications, which has to be one of the considerations here, I would imagine. They always end up being one of his biggest customers.
Elon, the only guy with a security clearance who can openly do drugs and talk about ketamine and somehow not lose it.
But just barely. Just barely.
Just barely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so happy Neuralink Day. It's pretty exciting. I saw a picture of it, what I think was a real picture of it. It was pretty gross. It's just what you'd expect. Somebody's had a hole in their head.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah, although I do envision a future, and I don't mean to be a cynic, but this is how this kind of thing gets rolled out. So first of all, we're years into this. So you got like your Blue Origin type competitors that'll come along to Neuralink. You'll have these competitors, and at some point, somebody's going to nail the enterprise. Probably Microsoft. It's probably going to be called like TeamLink, and it's going to be integrating you right into Microsoft Teams, and you're going to be the most efficient worker ever when you get TeamLink. And because, Bobby and Sue next to you have TeamLink, they're kind of crushing it on the reviews, and they're fine, and they get to interface with it with the kit at home they have. They get a little kit that interfaces with their home automation system so they can use it at home, at work, and maybe even in their car one day because it's going to use the Open Link protocol. So that's great. So, Bobby's got it, Sue's got it. They're getting great reviews. They're getting so much work done. I've got a lot to do. There's more things than ever to take care of in the year 2042. So I need this.
Okay, but we've already proven that Microsoft giving a company $8 billion cannot get them to use Teams over Google Hangouts.
All right, you're right, dang. Teams is the weak link, yeah.
we add a level of surgery, and I feel, unless this is some sort of Repo the Genetic Opera situation where people start fetishizing surgery, I just don't see it.
I mean, Microsoft exists. The reason why I use them is because they exist in this world where they don't always compete on the merits of the product, not always. Like I think in the case of Teams, they really get to take advantage of this horizontal scale they have. So you're already going to use Office 365 at most, large enterprises or medium enterprises. You're already using the Microsoft services. So why not also just use Teams, right? Why not also use this? Why not also take advantage, right? That's the whole Microsoft ecosystem strategy. And, you might not be the best product, but they'll have a great deal for the company, and the sales guy will take the CTO out on a great trip. So, Teams Link might not be the best, but they got it at a great price. So, how could you say no? I mean, I joke, but you combine this with some headphones and an Apple Vision Pro.
Oh, God.
And we're there, buddy. We're there, and maybe you're trading your cryptocurrencies and your NFTs in your Vision Pro, right? And you're not doing anything productive, but yet you're somehow generating money. You got chatbots making trades on Wall Street. You got people that are farming different weird things on the internet. You got bots having fights with bots. You don't actually need people producing anything. The whole thing can be a synthetic economy, and it's going to be fantastic. And how do you get there without TeamLink?
Oh, Chris is being funny, but it's true. Like, there are many organizations you walk into. It's not what solution can we have for, I don't know, insert problem here. It's what Microsoft solution do they have? Because there's a rep in there so deep to excise that person is like cutting out a tumor in the middle of the butthole of a Kardashian. I kind of lost the thread on that one.
Look here, Mike. Look, he's here to make your job better. He's here to help you work better as a company and help identify where they can assist your company. And Microsoft, they're going to be a partner. And they're going to bring all that means to bear to help make your company more productive. And we're going to work together. And as long as you and I work together and you go with us, nobody's ever gotten fired for going with Microsoft. It's such a tidy little arrangement. And it all fits together so perfectly for this corporatist takeover of our minds and our faces and our wrists and our pockets. you couldn't write it as a movie script, right? Like if you did a 6-part movie, you couldn't make a thread that goes this neatly through it all.
So what you're saying is resistance is futile.
Yeah. Thanks to our Coder QA crew for keeping us lean, mean, and weird. You can become a member at coder.show/membership. Speaking of Apple, boy, they really had a week. I mean, they are just throwing around their weight.
Glorious.
In a way, like if you just go for the raw, unbelievable power of it, they're taking on nation states now.
And winning.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They're like a silverback gorilla.
Yes.
In the jungle, or like busted out of the zoo and is enraged. And he's like, you know what? I see your hot dog cart. I'm going to throw it at the churro cart. Then I'm going to take a churro and turn it into a cannon somehow. They don't give a crap anymore.
No.
They're just like pounding their chest.
Well, it's like they rolled out Phil Schiller, right? So he's a fellow now. He doesn't have like an active day job, supposedly. And he's got no fucks to give. You can tell in the way he writes. Like I can read an Apple press release around this UK Home Office update stuff that they've...
Glorious. You have to read it, folks. It's really...
You can tell Phil wrote it. It's like the old day Apple. It's like the Apple during Steve Jobs. It's got this edge to it.
Right. Where Steve used to just tell someone that they were an idiot and to shut up, right?
Well, and I suspect Phil probably, helped screen a lot of what Steve put out. That was really Phil's area. And I think Phil, over the years, adopted some of Steve's language and communication style, and it's in there. And he's just putting out there, he says, quote, if the UK Home Office declined an update, it could then not be released in any other country, and the public would not be informed, implying that not only would they be vulnerable to security issues, but then they couldn't even be told they're vulnerable simply because the UK Home Office declines an update. And I guess, this is part of the battles. They want to have individual review processes there. You got to think of the kids and the people and their poor phones. It's like that Phil ninja move of, but you're going to harm their security and privacy by doing this.
I'm kind of with Phil very narrowly on this UK stuff, though. I don't think we should dive into it too deep. But the UK has been making all kinds of weird laws that are both impractical and are going to have lots of unintended consequences.
And the EU, both of them, right? It's been the EU also has been, and some of them have been good. Like the first thing people are going to write in and say is, "Hey, we're going to get USB-C ports," right? All right.
Okay, but that's one win out of a lot of apparent losses here.
But it's a nice one.
No, I now hate my iPhone 14 with a Lightning port because
I know.
My wife has the USB-C one, and if I just got rid of my phone, we would be a USB-C house, right? If I just took the early upgrade, but I don't want to.
So, I mean, I think you're right. I think taken in totality, there's a lot of tomfoolery and flexing and, just nickel and diming going on here and not resulting in anything that actually benefits the public, which I think is probably the ultimate complaint. If all of these actions had resulted in genuine improvements, things would be okay. We'd be a different discussion. Things would be a totally different state. But instead, what we've gotten is just the screws have gotten tighter, Apple's gotten more vicious, and really nobody has won.
Yeah, I think there's one minor win here, but this is like doing 3D chess to get there. That having the browser ballot in the EU may force Apple to make Safari suck less on mobile. That's a big may, right? That's like 3 Aunt Mays stacked together. But everything else, I mean, complete. Like Apple's just like, okay, we'll comply. Also, my favorite one is the core technology fee. It's just like throwing up the finger and being like, no, you just have to pay us. Whether we call it a commission or a tax, you just need to pay us. So now it's a fee.
It was brilliant because essentially what they said is the payment processing is the least expensive part, and it's really this core technology fee that you are so grateful to have. And, I think there is an argument to be made. I don't know if it should be essentially 20%. I think you could argue maybe 10% would be a little more fair. I mean, there is something there because you have to consider they're providing the storefront, they're providing the platform, the hardware, the marketing to some degree. So there's value there, but near 20% value, I think that's laughable. I think it's petulant. I think, it's just so brilliant, though, to label it as a core technology fee because you can throw anything in there.
I mean, I on the one hand, I find the argument of they shouldn't be able to make money a little crazy.
What about their argument? Okay, so I'm done steel manning Apple. What? Okay, before we get off this, before I start giving you their side, I got to mention, Schiller tried to play off that doing this could put elections around the world at risk.
Yeah, I know. Everybody's so freaking.
I think that was weak. That was the weak play. I think he showed his hand right there.
Well, that's a play to politicians, right? Because when he says elections around the world, he means like Trump, right? Yeah, especially when you're talking to the EU, who I don't think we could find one elected EU politician who likes Trump.
Yeah, I agree.
Like Biden did something very similar. We have it later in the doc. It's just like, can we, say what you mean and mean what you say? This euphemism bullshit. It's like, it's not a willy. It's called a penis. Okay, just like Mr. Garrison would say in South Park. It's not election integrity. It's you don't want Trump to win. Which, can I make a Coder Radio bet?
Oh yeah, you got one.
I will bet some TMB swag against some JB swag. Deal?
Okay, all right. Well, I don't know if I'm going to take the bet, but I'd go for that.
They're cute shot glasses. You'll like them.
Okay.
I bet Trump wins outright.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I would bet against that at this point. I think if you held the election today, held it today, it'd be a slam dunk.
Fine. So you won't take the action.
Let
me tell you why I think.
Here's the more interesting bet. Did they take Trump out before the election?
Like kill him?
No, I mean, I'm not saying that. I would never say that.
Because I just did, and neither would I, NSA.
I'm saying legal maneuvering, controversy.
They've tried to take him off the ballot, which is insane because then they're going to do that to everybody now. But
right, but don't you think? Okay, isn't this the play? Imagine for a moment, you got Biden. He's got the worst polling in the history of modern presidents, and you really don't have a great shot of him getting reelected. But you don't want Trump. Trump scares the hell out of you. Nobody on the right is really scared of anybody on the left. They're frustrated of the left, but they're not scared by the left. But the left is terrified of Trump. And it affects the way they operate in such a way that they've campaigned for Nikki Haley in the primaries. They went and caucused for Nikki. But also, you recall, in the previous primaries, they funded mega candidates specifically because they knew they could beat them in a strategy to slow Trump down. And now we've also seen the Nikki Haley audio leaked where a GOP head tried to get her to pause her campaign for 2 years. And I think it kind of paints this picture that really, it's just nakedly out there for all of us. It really is about Trump and trying to stop that. And then when you talk about election integrity, I don't know, it seems like it's pretty embarrassingly obvious that you're not going to get Biden to win. Trump is problematic, and so they're going to go with Nikki Haley, and everybody can live with Nikki Haley. The right can live with Nikki Haley because she's not Joe Biden. So if they take Trump out, they can vote for Nikki. And the left, while they don't want Nikki, they'd sure take Nikki over Trump, and so they'd be satisfied. So everybody would be at least moderately satisfied and compromise with Nikki. The only thing is how do you get Trump out? He's a big problem. He's clearly a concern. He freaks the Democrats out. They can't have him. And the big boys, like the GOP leadership, and that leaked Kerry audio shows us, they want these mega candidates out too. Like your Mitch McConnells, the heads of the Republican Party, they want these candidates out as well. So both sides, the left and the right leadership, are trying to take out these candidates, and they're all okay with Nikki Haley. So I think the more interesting bet would be, do they take Trump out or not? And if they do, I think it's a slam dunk for Nikki, assuming she hangs in there until they take Trump out.
No way.
No way? Okay, so there's the bet. See, that's the bet.
No way. If you take Trump out and you put up Nikki, I think she's fine. She's smart. Yeah. I didn't love her debate performance, although I watched those debates as though I was watching the New York Yankees play against the Plant City Little League team. Because
I loved the moment where she went up on stage and said how she wanted to dox everyone. That really showed you who she is.
Okay, well that debate, they shouldn't have happened, right? They were jokes. What if you get rid of Trump, you'll disappoint and disaffect the Republican base too much, and the Democrat will just win by default. Which is why there's so much Democratic money going into Nikki.
I don't think so.
Oh, you're crazy.
No,
all right, I'll take that action.
I think the hatred towards Joe Biden. I think you're forgetting the "Let's go Joe" or "Let's go Brandon." I think you're forgetting that I did that.
Yeah, but that's
stickers.
Republicans who hate Joe Biden.
Exactly. So they'll show up and vote for Nikki just to make sure Joe doesn't get in, and the Democrats. Well, they just won't show up at all, and they'll just capitulate and let Nikki in, assuming they take Trump out. I'm
not going to take Trump out.
It's my bacon, dude. I'm not saying they necessarily will either, but I'm thinking that's the bet. So I'm betting they will just for the fun of it. And
see, my
Nikki
bacon
wins.
is regardless of what happens, this drumbeat for control of social media and quote AI, whatever you think that means, and basically just like interpersonal communication and speech, is not going to stop because it's kind of like a 9/11 moment, right? Where you get the Patriot Act. We're going to have the political version of the Patriot Act here unofficially, where the folks who tend to be in power look at Trump and say never again. And not just the person of Trump, right? Like Donald J. Trump, the man, but the idea. And it's not even like the crazier stuff Trump does. I firmly believe that if you Wonder Woman lassoed half these guys, the thing they would tell you is that they hate populism and they just kind of want to keep the status quo, and, you know, whatever you feel about that, you feel about that. But we should get off this. But the thing, especially like in our little tech bubble, that I think a lot of us don't understand is there are a lot of upset people out there, a lot of angry people who aren't doing well. And, you know, San Francisco, New York, even Charlotte, even, you know, weird ass, what is it? Not Houston, the tech one that everybody goes to in Texas. And frankly, Twitter are not the norm of the country, right? Your baseline voter is not someone who would ever be on Vox or The Verge or anything with Aunt Cara. So you gotta, and they're not doing well, and they're upset, and so they turn to someone like that. And I think the theory is that if you choke off their ability to share those ideas and to vent their anger, that they will just be disaffected and not, vote accordingly. That's crazy. You should solve their problems, right? You should say, you know what, you're right. It's bullshit that there have been record profits and record stock prices and massive layoffs. Right? It's insane that you can do share buybacks. Like, these are the complaints. These are the things that are screwing the regular Joe. So, rant over.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's well said, and I think it is about populism. And we're still fighting over right and left. The reality is RFK and Donald Trump, who are probably the two populist candidates in right now, have more in common than they have probably.
Sure.
Apart, I guess. You know what I mean?
Well, look at all this stuff with like the president of Harvard and the diversity and inclusion stuff. I mean, ultimately, whoever wins that debate, which the answer is always going to be nobody because it's just a stalemate, doesn't change the facts on the ground for working peoples of all races, right? It doesn't help you. You need, and honestly, I think it's an intentional distraction. Because look how much coverage, the media is narcissistic. It likes to talk about itself. But all the coverage of this one woman at Harvard because she said something stupid at Congress. And then Bill Ackman because he went on a tirade about her on Twitter. Who gives a crap? Let's talk to the people who just lost their jobs. Or to the decades and decades of offshoring that has affected the average American. But we don't want to talk about that. And if you do talk about the offshoring thing, they say you're racist. And, they say you're populist. And, well, that's why... throwing him off Twitter, throwing him off Facebook, sure, it probably does something. But if you really don't like Trump, then let's revitalize the main streets. And let's do it in a very, you got to give people work. We have a story in the doc. I'll just jump to it now. These bullshit subsidies that Biden is giving to the chip makers are not going to go to, Bob the machinist or anything. Look at Foxconn in Wisconsin, the biggest boondoggle we've seen since the Reconstruction. It's a complete disaster. they're too, like, the Democrats are not even really a working class party anymore. They talk about nonsense cultural stuff that ultimately doesn't matter. What you do in your house is what you do in your house. They don't help the working man. And they've pissed them off because enough of them, enough of us, frankly, have become aware that it's all bullshit, that they went to the Republicans.
Well, and I'm going to add, while we're on a roll, because you're nailing it, we have a serious problem in that the only party that allows for a populist candidate is the right party. So you're only going to get a right-wing populist because the left tried and they sabotaged Bernie Sanders.
But they can't try because they're funded by Goldman Sachs and
Bernie tried, and the DNC internally conspired against him to sabotage him, including, attacks against his faith. And you'll remember Debbie Wasserman Schultz, go look her up.
Amazing.
Her emails leaked specifically talking about taking Bernie out so that way they could position the establishment candidate at the time, which was Hillary. So they sabotaged their populist arm intentionally, internally. And they did it again the second election against Trump.
Well, and what the right offers is, hey, man, I know you lost your job. I know you're down in your luck. And I know you're getting this lecture that you're a deplorable, you're a bad person. And they're telling you that, anybody can go in your daughter's locker room at school. The right says, we'll help you with that last part. You're not wrong. We'll validate your feelings and say, you know what? No, we're not doing this change. And that's all they offer. And you know what? When the other side is offering absolutely nothing, a lot of people take that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you got to feel like you're in control of your life. You got to feel like you're in power. And
when Trump was in office, he added to the deficit. He kicked off the events that led to inflation.
He was in no way a conservative. Right. He just isn't. Yeah.
Well, guess what? Special announcement. I'm experimenting with bringing back the Unfiltered show. So,
I thought we just did it.
I know. Right. Well, there you go. I need it. Clearly there needs to be an outlet. So there's going to be the Unfiltered show. You can go check it out. Unfiltered.show, or just search for Unfilter in your podcast app. Yeah.
For those of us old timers, will the old feed still work?
I think so. I think it should. You should like this first episode back too.
Is it out yet, or?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I know where I'm going right after this
starts with Vic, so you're gonna love it. You know it.
Oh, you know what? We need. See, negotiating on the air, so he has to kind of say yes. Election special.
I mean, it's gonna be a crazy election year, right?
We could just sit there, give me a bottle of gin, and watch me get more and more depressed,
and get canceled live on air. You just get everybody.
I probably just canceled myself anyway with my gym bathroom comments, or locker room comments.
Yeah. I can't argue with that. Go check out the weekly launch. Go search for Jupiter Station and give it a listen. It's a little morning radio music news thing, I guess. I don't know. You just listen to it. Why do I got to? So AI companies will need to report their safety test results to the U.S. government. This is the result of that executive order that Joe issued. 90 days it had to sort of cook. And then under the Defense Production Act, yes, that Defense Production Act that was such a controversial thing to use just a couple of years ago, compels AI companies to share vital information with the Commerce Department, including their safety tests. So, Mike, you going to share your safety test with the Commerce Department?
Oh, yeah. Let me get right on that.
What does that mean?
It's Valentine's Day. I'm going to send them a little card with Batman and Harley Quinn on it. And there we go.
You are being compelled by the Defense Production Act. I don't know what that means. And here I was just thinking about making JB an AI podcasting play.
So actually, you and I are not being compelled.
Okay, good.
We're not big enough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, U.S. cloud companies. It seems.
So,
right?
I mean, we just kind of did this, right? This is all about the election, and I don't believe anything else. I think this is straight up. That's all. They're worried about AI-generated content.
Yeah.
That's it. This is a kind of nothing story, but because it's using the Defense Production Act, which, by the way, was this weird thing before when we used it to make like vaccines, but now is like, I guess every Tuesday we're going to use it now. Great. Awesome. It was fun in World War II. That's where we are.
I mean, I maintain, I think it's pretty out there that this is the first time in software development history where The individual components and ingredients and thoughts are being regulated and not the software that's being produced. I think this is historical for software development. Never in the history of even the operating systems that run, some of the most important equipment in the U.S. military, they have different standards than this. This is a remarkable level of detail now where we're auditing the tests as well. So we're auditing the hardware, the scale of the code, the scale of the models, and now we're also auditing the tests. And there are not one, not two different federal agencies involved in this audit, but there are 9 federal agencies, including the Department of Defense, Transportation, Treasury, Health, Human Services, will all be involved in completing risk assessments regarding AI's use in critical infrastructure. So basically, i.e. things that large companies make, like Microsoft and cloud computing, specifically cloud computing and cloud computing companies are specifically mentioned in here. Wow.
Okay. I mean,
all right.
I was just, I'm very excited. There's this Magneto series that I discovered where Magneto becomes the headmaster of Xavier's School for Gifted Children, i.e. the X-Men. And it turns out he's like, I'm going to change my ways because Charles is missing or dead or something. It's Marvel. They come back. And at the end of it, basically the lesson is, they still kind of suck, though. Magneto was right. Like, there's nothing good that's going to happen with any of this stuff, with the Defense Production Act being used in this way. The specifications you laid out there and that are laid out in this document are very, very subjective. Like, frighteningly so. We've already seen the disaster that the IRS's enforcement. By the way, can we take a lap on this one?
Yeah.
We totally called it. Who did they go after for the ERC enforcement? Retention credit for enforcement.
Small business.
Not the big guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This is another burden. Luckily, they're aiming a bit higher on this one, but these large companies are going to this is just effectively another hurdle they have to jump, and they're just going to get around it. So, and they're incentivized for the thing that Biden actually cares about here. The most of the founders of these organizations and the boards also agree is like the nightmare scenario. So this is nothing.
Want to pick it up a bit? Let's shift gears because today is another historic day. It's not just Neuralink Day.
Oh, no.
Yep, it's Apple Vision Pro Day.
Apple Vision Pro headset goes on sale this week, and the company already has 200,000 pre-orders at a starting price of $3,500. CNBC.com's Todd Hazelton reviewed the Vision Pro and says it's the future of computing and entertainment. Todd is hiding behind the Vision Pro right now.
The future, Mike, of entertainment.
It is not.
So I'll link to Apple Rumors, which links to a bunch of the video reviews. I think The Verge has a really good one this time around. Did you get a chance to see any of them? Because I know they just dropped this morning.
I did see Nilay Patel's at The Verge, yes.
Yeah. I watched that one all the way through. I thought he did a great job. And it's not selling the Apple Vision Pro at all, in my opinion.
No. In fact, I was very impressed with his review. It was... yeah, man. This looks like it's going up there with the Apple game console.
The first thing that struck me, and I've seen this in every video review now, Apple could just completely drop this pass-through screen with your virtual eyes thing. It turns out it's like a low-res screen. You can see the pixels. And anytime you're in a highlight environment, like in a bright room or on any of these video sets, you can't see it anyways. It's completely worthless. And that's got to be $1,000 frickin' bucks right there when you consider the way they're monitoring your face and all the equipment they need to monitor your eyeballs and the screens that they've built into that and the glass that they have on the front of that and all of that and the thermals of that and the power requirements of that for something that seems to be a totally failed execution. I admit I'm only going off of pictures in every review I've watched, but in every one of them you can't even see the stupid virtual eyes.
Yeah, I think this is, again, something that the Valley, the investors, the tech companies that need growth want to be a thing. It's just not going to be a thing.
I don't know. There's some potential. I watched Joanna Stern's review as well, and she used a recipe cooking app. And I think you'd actually like this. You should watch her. She's from the Wall Street Journal. And when she's cooking, she puts timers that hover over like the pasta and the sauce that is simmering. And not only does it have a timer and you can quickly add a few seconds, but it also has a subtext that tells you what stage of the recipe it is and where that's at. And you can tap that and get an expansion of what comes next. You tap it again. And it does a remarkable job, even in her dimly lit kitchen, of pinning those timers directly over like that boiling water. And she moves around the kitchen the entire time, and they never leave that spot. They don't quiver in there. They don't drift a little bit. They really nailed that. There's also other small little things I noticed, like the typing little overlay, and some of those things seem really, really quite fantastic. I think Nile went overboard about the loneliness. That's just the reality of VR headsets, and ultimately the solution will be everybody get a VR headset. Clearly, you'll just have to buy more Apple Vision Pros. That's clearly going to be the solution. I think if you took that stupid glass off the front and you just made it a aluminum front, and if you wanted to indicate when people are immersed or not, you could just put a frickin' LED light on the front of it. You know, make it fancy the way Apple would, make the faceplate glow or something like that, and you could just indicate when the cameras are on with an indicator light. You don't need to have a $1,000 pass-through virtual eyeball display. So you could cut costs right there, cut weight, cut battery use, and next year you put a faster processor in this thing. You upgrade the screens so that way the field of vision is larger than the Quest 3, which is a major disappointment. And I think I'm buying it. You drop $1,000 off, you get rid of the stupid virtual pass-through eyeballs, a little bit better battery life, you put an M3 in it, you get a year of apps. I think it's a product.
Okay, we'll see. I mean,
dude, I am telling you, if I could wear it right now while I'm doing this show and have the chat room overlaid up in the corner, have your levels in another corner, yeah, dude, it's a business expense and I'd do it. I might not take it out of the studio. I don't know. Who knows? And there'd have to be the apps for it. But
yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what the apps look like. We'll see how fragile these things end up being. I feel like one drop and you're like in a lot of trouble.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But so the reviews are hitting, and it's, I don't know, there's something fun about like new Apple product review day and everybody drops all at once. It looks like 200,000 units, like they said. That's pretty darn good if they're, shooting for like 400,000 this year. They've already got halfway there.
Yeah, this is what we said last week, right? Like if this actually ends up working and you are an early developer to it, there is money to be made for sure. The question is, does the product gain enough traction for that to be true? And I think that's an open question, right?
I'm long bet here. I'm looking at the roots. You know what I mean? Like with Apple, you can tell when they rush a product and they're not really committed. And then there's those initiatives they do where they spend 5+ years behind the scene building, like with the M transition. There's some products that they really, truly they re-architect parts of the company to serve this thing going forward before they've ever even launched it. They do that on every now and then, every 5-6 years. And the Apple Vision Pro is that product this cycle around, right? They have re-architected part of the company. They have fundamentally created a new operating system, a new hardware division, a new type of everything. And I think they've been working on this thing for 6+ years based on the documents that we've seen. I think this thing has deep roots. And with a target of 400,000 this year, and definitely looking at how rough this thing is, especially with the virtual avatars, and unfortunately the pass-through seems to be pretty weak and low light and only does about 40-ish, 49%-ish of the color spectrum, it sounds like. That's also the field of view's weak. You've got kerning on the edges. All that's got to get fixed up. But Apple, out of all these companies, is going to be able to nail that price point eventually. It's going to always be the most expensive, but they're going to have the best combination of hardware, features, ecosystem, and price. And I think that the roots go too deep for it to be just one iteration. I would bet they're going to probably iterate on this thing in another year or so, assuming that.
I'd like to see one that makes sense, right? That would be cool. But
it needs to be more than just an iPad on your face, to your point. But yes,
right.
All right. There, I just wanted to touch on it since it did launch today. As we go on the air, it's here, And people, that aren't YouTube celebrities and Wall Street Journal reporters will be receiving theirs over the next week or so. So if you got one out there, write in. Either boost in or email encoder.show/contact. Let us know. One last story that was sent to me this morning. I guess GitHub ran a little CoPilot research project, and Visual Studio Magazine is reporting on the new research that shows that when they looked at the code quality and maintainability of AI-assisted code compared to what had been written by humans, they didn't like what they found, and they released a white paper from, I guess the people that released it are called GitClear. I'll link to all this in the show notes. And they write, quote, "What we find disconcerting are trends for maintainability. They say you look at the percentage of lines of codes that are reverted or updated less than 2 weeks after being authored. We are projecting it doubles in 2024 compared to 2021, which is our pre-AI baseline. We further find that the percentage of added code and copy-pasted code is increasing in proportion to the updated and deleted and moved code. In this regard, the AI-generated code resembles an iterate contributor, prone to violate the DRY-ness, the don't repeat yourself, of the repos visited." But basically, I guess to summarize this, they say looking at code that they see generated before AI and after AI, they see what they call code churn, is their term, in that there's almost a matching here of they see a lot more added code, copy and pasted code, and it is proportional to the updated, deleted, and moved code. And the overall quality is down.
Okay. I mean, I don't know if I buy it. I remember reading similar things about Stack Overflow back in the day. Sure, right? Like, I think Stack Overflow is actually the right analogy here. You should not just be blindly putting in CoPilot code for your application. But to say that, if you how I use it, Chris? I go in and I'll do like what do you call that? The other tick on the tilde key.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I triple hit that, and then I'm like, because I suck at remembering the math formulas for like I'm doing this accounting program for a customer, and like I have to do like amortization of payroll, right? Now there's a set formula that you use for standard GAAP accounting, but I don't. Hell if I remember it, right?
Sure.
So like I do the 3 tilde thing. It's not the tildes, it's the other symbol on that key. And I'll type in, or I'll just go to ChatGPT like, hey, in Ruby or whatever, but in this case it was Ruby, what is the right formula for this? And it'll either give it to me in code, although I've noticed ChatGPT doesn't love Ruby that much, which is interesting. If you ask it, it will tell you that it's written in Python, and it will extol the virtues of Python. It's the partisan AI at this point, right? So, but it'll give me the formula, right? Whether it gives it to me in the form of like pseudocode or it gives it to me in the form of like Ruby that I then tweak, it's fine. I mean, I don't know. I do think we're very far from the state where we can say, generate me a full functioning CRUD app for this database, but it's early days. And I would guess that a lot of the people using CoPilot in the manner described here, with that just like copy and pasting things out, are probably junior developers using it as a crutch to struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't that just what they did with Stack Overflow? I mean, and that's what everybody did with Stack Overflow. Yep. So I don't. It just feels like this is, maybe we're getting old, or maybe I'm getting old. It just feels like we're having the same argument. Just replace Stack Overflow with, insert your coding assistant of choice.
All right, well, I wanted to wrap up with just a couple of more notes on the Vision Pro, just because there's a couple of things that we didn't touch on that I had written down, just a couple of observations. One of them is you cannot rearrange the home screen icons, and you cannot pin web applications to the home screen, which is a bummer considering Netflix and YouTube don't have apps, among others. So there's some real restrictions there. But I had wondered about the multi-window situation. It's seemingly you can have a ridiculous amount of windows. From what I can tell, you can have more windows than you should. And there's no window management tooling, really. So you kind of get out of control. But you can put them all over the place, and you can pin them in spots in rooms, and they'll stay there. And you can, it is true multi-window, float, put them wherever you want, rearrange the size, iOS multitasking.
It could be interesting, right? Like I'm not a total hater. I don't know. Maybe I'll go try one on at the Apple Store or something.
Yeah, I think that's it. I don't think it's worth the money now. I mean, the fact that you can't rearrange icons or pin web apps just tells you how early this thing is, right? It's just the reality of it, and that's fine. That's fine. We'll sit back and we'll wait for reports from the audience. I'm sure they'll enthrall us with their tales of visiting virtual worlds in the Vision Pro.
Ask not what your podcast can boost for you, but what you can boost for your podcast.
Hey, thank you, everybody who takes a moment to boost in. If you'd like to boost, well, get a Podcasting 2.0 app like Fountain. 1.0 came out, and it's great. And they have integration with Strike now. I think Strike is available in almost 40 countries now. And it is a fantastic company and a great way to get sats. And you load them right into your Fountain wallet, and you can boost. And each bit of that boost supports the whole production here, including our crew and the Podverse developers, as well as the Podcast Index, part of the Podcasting 2.0 platform. Thank you, everybody who boosts in. And our baller boost this week came from Ryan with 30,000 sats. And he just says, keep up the good work. Well, thank you, sir. We will keep up the good work as long as you keep on boosting. Appreciate that. The next one comes in from Rotted Mood, 25,000 sats, and just says, value for value. Indeed, sir. Have a bell. Appreciate you. And a round of applause. Mick Zip comes in with 25,000 sats and says, let's hit that goal. Well, we'll find out if we did. And Sir Alex Gates, the Podcasting 2.0 consultant, comes in with 23,607 sats. He says, I noticed something. He says, you said that was embarrassing, an embarrassing boost. And I was reminded of a Letterkenny scene. You nailed it. You nailed it, Sir Alex. I'm a Letterkenny fan. It's effing embarrassing.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Figure it out. Also,
but he then puts it to us: Andromeda versus Farscape.
I don't think you're going to like my answer here.
I know I'm not going to like your answer, and you're going to hate mine. So let's go.
I think I like Andromeda better.
I like Andromeda too because it's Hercules.
Yeah, it's Hercules in space, dude. And also, like, the ship was a little cooler, I thought.
Yep.
I don't know. Farscape got a little wild too, whereas Andromeda stayed a little more sci-fi.
Yeah, I loved Andromeda. In fact, I haven't thought about it until I saw this in the doc, and I'm like, in the age when gods were cruel on starships, right? Like, it's Hercules in space. Come on, you gotta love it.
I guess Plex has it for free for streaming in the Plex app.
Of course it does.
Huh. I mean, that could be fun, dude. That could be a fun rewatch, actually.
Kevin Sorbo Space Marathon. I love it.
Yeah, and you know what? Higher production than Bab 5 as well.
Ooh, that's hateful.
But it's true. It's true. I don't know.
No, you just can't help yourself, can you?
I feel like Farscapers out there, is that what they call themselves? Farscapians? I feel like they're probably listening right now and getting upset. But
I mean, just listen to the blurb they have on Amazon Prime Video for it, which, by the way, streams it. Rescued from a black hole by a salvage ship, Captain Dylan Hunt finds himself 300 years in the future. The universe is in chaos and the Commonwealth has fallen. He recruits the eclectic crew of the salvage ship to aid him in restoring the Commonwealth, but finds their motives are often at odds with his own. I mean, it's literally Kevin Sorbo on an evangelical political mission, which is just Kevin Sorbo.
Funny how that worked out, huh?
It's amazing. He was preparing for his future life with this show. So, yeah.
The Cranky Croc comes in with a Spaceballs boost, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sats.
So the combination is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, Lord.
That's the stupidest combination I ever heard in my life.
He says, I finally got my sats ready. For those thinking of doing the same, you want to have enough beers in you that you're willing to give this weird sat thing a go, but not so many that you have to part way through the process. I think that's it. I think he nailed the recipe.
It's kind of my general sales strategy. Get them enough drinks that they'll go for it, but not enough that they pass out.
Right. He says Strike and Fountain do work for those of us in Australia. That's a great report, and I think when people ask me how they should get sats, that's the description I'm going to give them. Just enough beer so you'll give it a go, but not so many beers that you got to bail. That's so good.
Right. We want you slightly hammered, but not shit-faced. Yes.
That's I think the coder. That's a strategy for
That
life.
should be our motto:
Yeah.
slightly hammered, but not shit-faced.
The Golden Dragon comes in with 13,370 sats. Yeah, that's a hot boost. I'll say that.
Coming in hot with the boost.
He says, there's so many boostable pieces in this episode, so I'm sending a super leap boost. Aha, I see. It was leap sats times 10. Man.
Nice.
That's a fun one.
Fun will now commence.
And he says, thanks for the show, and what a banger it was. Mike, have you heard of Aftershocks? They are bone-conducing headphones that don't have to go in your ears.
So, first of all, have you been watching Magic the Gathering videos on YouTube? Because they advertise on the Command Zone.
So have you tried them?
No, I have not. I've tried bone conduction headphones before. I'm not super fond. The other thing is I'm mostly, like most of my audio listening is audiobooks, so I tend to just have one AirPod in. Which, by the way, we are on our sci-fi tangent. I am listening, I read it before, but I'm listening to it again, Salvation by Peter Hamilton. Aliens suck. Like, you should, definitely a good read / listen.
All right. We should grab me a link and I'll throw it in there.
No, sure.
Yeah. All right. I like that. Bunch of Nuts comes in with a Spaceballs boost. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sats.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. That's amazing. I've got the same combination on my luggage.
He says, for the C++ coder in you, in CMake 3.18, they finally pushed C++ modules from experimental to mainstream. Using CMake's target_sources and file set CXX modules followed, supporting Ninja, MSVS, Clang 16, GCC 14, and newer. Now I'm just waiting for NixOS to offer a new version of CMake so I can simplify my cobbled distro box Nixshell dev environment. Oh, bunch of notes. I'd love to know more about that. I've been telling people DistroBox is the escape hatch of NixOS. You can pop over to a distro that you're familiar with, like your Ubuntu or a Fedora or a Lizard-based one, and then you just pop right back into the clean Nix environment.
Do you automatically become Italian, from Naples when you do that?
Well, it depends on the distro. It depends.
Yeah. Wait, if you go to SUSE, though, are you like, welcome to SUSE, welcome in?
Yes, exactly.
Good.
Yes.
Good stuff.
You will use the distro? All right.
You will. What are you talking about, apt-get? There is no apt-get. 9.
Exactly. That's exactly it. You got it.
You will pay the enterprise license.
DPG comes in with 4,444 sats.
Thank you very much. And here's something for your trouble.
Hey, Mike and Chris, wondering if Mike has any thoughts on Kotlin and the newish Kotlin multi-platform. I have a friend who is a Kotlin zealot and absolutely swears by the work that JetBrains is doing with the project. Love the show.
So take the easy one first. I know nothing about Kotlin multi-platform. I haven't tried it out. But I do like Kotlin. I have shipped a few things in Kotlin. It is a good evolution on Java, right? I would say if you're a Java head and you want to check it out, you definitely should, because you can intermingle Kotlin and Java very easily.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. DD Smith comes in with Road Ducks. Boosting to support one of my favorite pods and to celebrate a fellow Iowa State alum, Brock Purdy, heading to the Super Bowl. It's basically me playing the Super Bowl, right? Yeah. I kind of feel that way.
If it keeps you boosting, sure.
Yeah. There you go. When this, the rare occasion the Seahawks go to the Super Bowl, I'd actually get interested again.
Let's be honest, folks, though. This is the Taylor Swift Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I bet they're going to have more female watchers than they ever have. I guarantee it. Just to get a glimpse of, oh my God, does she kiss him at halftime or something?
Yeah, I heard somebody describe Taylor Swift as a woman who's never quite grown up, who still kind of thinks of herself as 16, that women who've never grown up that still kind of think of themselves as 16 really like to follow. Although I'm not a T Swift hater, I'd watch the halftime.
I mean, I have her stuff on vinyl, so it's kind of hard for me. But yeah. I like the evil laugh from Chris. See, he's always mocking my vinyl that I don't listen to anymore. I gave it away.
Cultivator came in just under the wire with a boost, 7,777 sats. Got it just before I got to the boost. He says, Mike, please don't ever stop doing this show. I couldn't write more than a simple bash script, and I mean simple. But I keep coming back for that sweet, sweet Jar Jar.
Oh, Misa not going anywhere. Keep it a boost. I got to buy the gun bomb.
Why are we encouraging him? Oh, man.
You know, I actually found a character that you will find more annoying, but I'm working on the voice.
Okay. Oh, God.
It took me 12 years.
God, I can only imagine if this is you working on a voice. That's okay. All right. Well, now
I don't have to do show notes anymore because Tim Cook does them for me. So.
In your Apple Vision Pro. Yeah, he does, doesn't he? They just keep rolling. Thank you, everybody who boosted in. We had 11 boosts. Now, we had 157,110 sats. That's pretty good. I'd love to try to get to 200,000 sats next episode if we could. That's kind of our goal right now. We'll see. But we really do appreciate everybody. Yeah, they're like huge now. I mean, the idea that they can just tell the EU regulators or the UK regulators or the US regulators to basically go pound sand, or the fact that they can roll somebody like DHH when they know they have the US antitrust arm of the DOJ breathing down their necks. They really have truly become a monster.
They're winning so far, right?
Yet, I still kind of want a Vision Pro. That tells you how screwed things are.
Well, also, I noticed you're blaming me for Unfilter coming back in the show notes.
Oh, you saw that. I put a note there that says I blame you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see, you're clearly getting me worked up. You're getting me all worked up, clearly. So I'm going to just...
between Apple and what... If you really need content for Unfiltered, just track your Florida congressman. They're an interesting bunch.
One of the first comments I got when the episode was first posted, somebody said, Mike finally wore you down.
It's true. I actually, Unfiltered was always one of my favorite shows on the network. Because, I listen to a lot of the political crap on the other networks, and although I do respect them a little more now because they're not pretending not to be partisans, which is like, it's just easier when you just say it. Yeah.
Yeah, you won't be finding Unfiltered in the JB show feeds or anything like that, but I will have it on Unfiltered.show.
Because we have advertisers that we're trying to...
Well, it's like its own thing. It just needs to be its own thing. It's like a therapy session for me is what it really is. That's why I did it again, I get all worked up, and then I get on here and I get all ranty, and it's not good for anybody. It's not good for anybody.
And actually, just jump in here. The craziest thing happened to me today. I was on a call. This person was trying to sell me something, and she just outright said, you moved to Florida because the fucking Democrats in New Jersey. I was like, what?
Wow.
And she's also from New Jersey, and she just like lit into them. I'm like, this is a weird sales strategy. I'm like, okay.
There is something about people that just kind of assume like which way you might lean one way or another,
right.
And they kind of just.
Well, she took one look and was like, because it was a video call, yeah.
And you're like, all right, I'm not sure if I should be offended or not. I mean, I get you.
I didn't really care. Yeah. Like, I don't care about that kind of stuff. But I'm like, that could have gone super sideways for this young lady. Like,
exactly.
I personally know people who would have just like flipped out or just like ended the meeting and been like, thank you for your time. Goodbye.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Not good to maybe antagonize or to not antagonize is the wrong word, but to go controversial in sales calls.
I forget why, but I think we're going to be live on Tuesday next week for some reason. I think it's something I'm doing, but I completely...
You're traveling, I thought.
Yeah, but
You don't know where?
I don't know why. I just remember I needed... So we're going to be live on Tuesday, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
And if you subscribe...
You told me, okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I remember we brought it up.
You said you're going somewhere. I just don't remember where. Yeah.
I know. Me neither. It's weird.
Okay, so the game for this weekend on Monday is Where's Chris? If you can find him and take a picture, throw it on Weapon X, you get some stickers or something. We'll figure it out.
There's a lot going on, dude. There is so much going on these days. I've been hustling.
I'm supposed to be flying somewhere, and I completely forgot. This is horrible. The United Airlines notification that your trip's in a couple of weeks, because of course they want you to buy extra shit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I totally forgot about the trip. Just complete brain.
That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. I literally am going somewhere. And I know vaguely that because, it's a schedule change. So I know that, but I don't know why. I don't remember what. To be frank, with revenue down and all that, I'm just working 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Wednesday at least. I kind of take it easy on Thursday, and then I hit it again Friday and Sunday, and most of Saturday if I can, but that kind of depends on the day. It's just nonstop. I mean, it's like, and I'm hoping it's fruitful, but you really got to put the work in right now to kind of lay those seeds, to sort of cultivate those deals and et cetera, et cetera. And it's just, It's really something. Plus, I don't want to slow down on production of content or some of the new features we're rolling out, like in the Jupiter Station feed. And we're also planning a trip to scale, and we got to get that organized and figured out. So, yeah, it has been a lot. If you knew how much work it was, you wouldn't get into the job. I think that's probably true for a lot of things, though. Did you die over there? You still muted? You're still muted. Did you die over there? You got to unmute.
Misa was muted. Misa was so muted.
So you take care of yourself and you get some rest, you know?
I will. You too. Figure out where you're going.
Yeah, well, you got to figure out where you're going. You figure it out.
Watch me just like land in some bunker together.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
With Dick Cheney.
We run away together.
Hand in hand, me and you. Oh, we can't sing, right? Because DMCA. Okay.
Hey, where do you want people to go to get a little bit more Mike during the week?
Go to alice.dev. And you know what? Find me on LinkedIn because I've not been using Weapon X recently because I get a lot of weird porn DMs. Yeah, just my name, Michael Dominic on LinkedIn. How do you get those?
Yeah, I'll be on Weapon X at Chris LAS.
You follow Magic the Gathering stuff, and then you get them. Yeah.
Links to what we talked about today, coder.show/555er. You'll find our contact form over there as well as our RSS feed. And hey, we'd love you to take a moment to share the show. It's the best way a podcast can get marketed is word of mouth. Thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode of the Coder Radio program. We'll be live next week at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday at jblive.tv. We hope you enjoyed the program, and I hope to see you right back here next week. All right. Thank you, Drew. Thank you. Appreciate you. Chatham, you got a few seconds to bang Suggestal. I don't know how to use what I'm doing. You know, I don't know how to use this. So I'm going to hit stop record.
So now I get to check my Overcast. Watch, Marco took you out. He does that now, by the way.
What now does he do?
He will block individual podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
oh, yeah. Yeah, I know.
I think is an interesting choice because once you make yourself...
It was. I remember when it started. It started when the whole Alex Jones deplatforming thing went down. I remember he talked about it on the show and he, gave it a lot of thought and all of that. And yeah, I guess here we are. Now we're just, now he's regularly deplatforming folks.
That's a dumb thing to do because why would you invite the controversy? Oh, yep. There it is. Joe's Secret Cold War.
Oh, yeah. You're going to love it. Because it's
I think I am.
He's going after the EU.
Wait, what is he doing?
Yeah. Oh, it's not just him, but boys, the problem with Joe is he's getting sloppy. He's getting sloppy.
Well, he's like 4,000 years old, dude. What do you want?
Good to be the king was mine.
I did slightly hammered, but not shit-faced. I'm sure you'd have to put a asterisk in there.
Slightly hammered, but not shit-faced. That's also very good. How would you rewrite that so it's like
put a
ampersand in there or something?
Yeah, an ampersand where the I is, right? Isn't that how you replace the
although, I am trying to sell the show to advertisers.
Fair enough. Although, there's all these non-alcoholic beer companies. We could torture me for a few months and make me try them.
Wouldn't that? Or maybe we should lean into that and the AdamandEve.com brands. Just go
Aren't those sex toys?
Yeah, dude. Let's just go for it. Let's just lean into it.
It's more your department,
alcohol.
Father of 1,000. Alcohol. They just legalized gambling online in Florida.
CBDs. Let's do CBDs.
Isn't what's his name in jail? Andrew Tate. Can't we pick up some of his advertisers?
There's a market opportunity.
You know what? Never mind.
All right. So, you want to do slightly hammered, or should we do?
No. If you think the
could also just do. What about just slightly hammered?
We should probably do "It's Good to Be the King." It's topical. We could always say slightly hammered, but not shit-faced.
All right. Because I was gonna say just slightly hammered also works, but yeah, okay, all right. I mean, I like "Good to Be the King" too because I made it. My baby. All right. Well, I guess I'll see you on Tuesday. I hope I'm doing something cool.
I don't know. So wait, I got to move this on my calendar because I now allow people to book on my calendar.
Oh yeah, you using a calendar-y thing, or?
I am, but it has disadvantages.
Oh yeah, what? The people just
So apparently I've known this for a while because I already did it. Well,
oh, okay. Yeah, I did bring it up like a bit ago, but that's probably why I can't remember.
Because I already did it. It's I get a lot of spam. Like I'm getting a lot of like people pretending to be potential customers and are really just like, sorry guys, I know people are gonna get mad, but like offshoring companies wanting me to subcontract to them, which is something I don't do. So it's not that offshore devs are bad. I just don't do it because I got to control the quality of work, right? We charge U.S. rates. It seems unfair to do that.
I'm impressed that I'm still getting a decent amount of solicitations for like interviews and experts to come on and talk on the show, and they're like, "Hey, I love the show, and I just think so and so would be so great for the show." I'm like, we don't do guests. Do you ever listen? Like, when's the last time we had a guest on? Like, why do you think they'd be great for the show? Like,
that other thing too, right?
They're doing that a lot still. Like that's, I mean, it's all right. I mean, you know what? For the right guest, maybe it makes sense, especially these days. But I'm just saying, like, a lot of them are just like PR folks that are a firm that are just doing PR for this guy or, you know, whoever it is. And it's like, they just mass email, like, and they write it like they listen to the show. Like they're trying to like gaslight me into thinking they're fans of the show. You know, like, okay, yeah, I bet you're big listeners. All those guests we take on.
The problem with guests is I remember like we had a couple that were really good, and then we had a couple that were complete shit shows.
Some of our favorites.
But poor Drew had to like. I remember it was a shit ton of work for him to clean it up.
Yeah,
like,
it can be. Yeah. You know what I do on LUP is I try to record them during the week earlier, so he has a few extra days. And then I just play them back on the stream. So I stopped doing them live as much just to give Drew a little more time.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, when I did like Gamer, I kind of it's on hiatus again because I had like 3 episodes in canned that were with guests, but they were. Okay, folks, if you ever go on a podcast, you can't use your damn AirPods.
Oh God, thank you.
Sounds like shit.
I know.
And like I just wouldn't publish them.
Yeah, it's tricky, right? Yeah.
But then I like all that time of like
yep,
coordinating and making the time. I'm like, this
super demotivating, and it's a lot of wasted effort and time. And then the guest also sometimes can wonder like, why didn't that interview ever come out?
Well, I've had to have a couple awkward conversations. Like, man, I asked you if you had a mic, and you said yes, and then you showed up with like AirPods. Yes. One dude showed up just using his like Lenovo laptop mic. I'm like, I told him right in the middle. I said, we're not gonna be able to do this.
My most recent interview I did was with Kent Overstreet, who's the Bcash FS developer, and it just got included in Linux. And so we scheduled the meeting, and he's 5 minutes late. He contacts me and says he's got to reschedule. And, you know, that was Wes and I like on a Tuesday during the day, so we'd like set aside time and all that. We're like, okay, that's all right, it happens. And so then we rescheduled it to Thursday. 5 minutes go by, I email him. I'm like, hey, are we still good to go? You know, 5 minutes passed. And he's like, oh, right, I'll hop right on. He hops on. And he's basically using like an external mic attached to a laptop in the back of his Subaru where he's been camping. And every time he moves, it like rubs on the microphone and it sounds bad. So we ended up just like using clips of the interview instead of the full interview. But it's like,
that's a ton of production work too.
Yeah, it was. Exactly. And the thing is like, I asked him if he had a mic. Oh yeah, all good. Well, I didn't know he was like going to be setting a mic like on a duffel bag. And then every time he adjusted, the duffel bag would move and the mic would fall down and be like into the microphone.
Well, you know, I think like people doing Zoom and Google Hangouts, your laptop mic is usually good enough.
Yeah, and
right?
that software's doing. There's a lot of software correction that Google Meet will do and stuff. And you know, you can mute. Yeah. Oh, I know what you mean. Now.
Oh yeah, it's just this is a wild thing, but
there's a lot of stuff that goes into it that people don't even know.
Yeah, so folks, your hour 45-minute show takes a lot more than
yeah, definitely.
All right, chat room, loving you guys. I will be around later if anybody wants to tell me why they hate Kevin Sorbo and Andromeda, and I can tell them why they're wrong.
I'm wondering if we'll see some haters.
Oh, we're going to get some heat. You know Kevin Sorbo. Yeah, we're going to get some heat.
All right, Mr. Dominic, well, have a good week.
All right, bye, chat room.
Talk to you later.
Later, bye.
Thank you for joining us, chat room. That's it. We're all wrapped up. Coder Show's in the can. Hope you, if you made it for the launch and for that, I salute you. If you missed the launch, I'll have that published in the Jupiter Station feed in just a little bit. That'll be coming up in just a little bit. Thank you, everybody who's watching. If you're watching on one of the commercial streams and you'd like to feel like you're participating in some of the fun, you can subscribe to Jupiter Station on your podcasting client. If you have a 2.0 client, you'll get a native live stream right in there. That's pretty cool. Or you could try out our PeerTube instance over at Jupiter.tube. But either way, I'm just really glad you're here and you're hanging out with us. And especially if you make it in that chat room. That means a lot to us. Thanks so much, and I'll see you on Sunday for Linux Unplugged. Have a good rest of your week.